This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Thank you for listening to This is a Place podcast. My name is Matt.
My name is Brandon.
And I'm Nate.
Today is my last day as an intern on this podcast.
Finally.
Finally.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was on mute.
Thanks, Brandon. Thank you for your confidence. But before we jump into talking about that, I wanted to wish you guys a happy Slinky Day, but not just a Slinky Day. I think I want to focus more on it is National Toasted Marshmallow Day. So what are your thoughts on toasted marshmallows?
What's a toasted marshmallow? Who
Yeah,
toasts
who
their
toasts a
marshmallows? Do you put them in a toaster?
Hey, that's what it's called. It's Toasted Marshmallow Day.
Toasted marshmallow.
A day
Not
celebrated by no one, because no one toasts their marshmallows.
exactly.
Well, you roast the marshmallows?
You roast your
I
marshmallow.
roast them.
I guess you could toast a marshmallow if it was marshmallow on a Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
It was a s'mores Pop-Tart. They have those. So I guess
Well, it
that's a
even says
roast
whip out
toasted
your
marshmallow.
whip out your best marshmallow toasting skills and win over everyone at the party.
They just let anybody make a holiday, don't they?
Apparently. So I almost always have to have graham cracker and Hershey's with my roasted marshmallows. But my father-in-law will get one of the like wiener roasters, like the U-shaped double-sided spike. And he'll put like 6 marshmallows on there and he'll burn them all. And then he'll just eat all 6 of them. And that's it for him. He's like, all right, I'm done.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
I can eat marshmallows without the graham cracker or the chocolate, but I do prefer them in the
Right.
full combination. Always like to have some more, even if I hadn't had any.
Only
But
smells.
yeah, there's a fine line between when the marshmallow is good and when it is well past well done.
It is hard to get the perfect marshmallow, toasted marshmallow.
Maybe that's the problem. We should be toasting our marshmallows and they'll be perfect.
Well, you ever done it? Just put it in the microwave? Does
Yeah.
that count? Can you put it in
No.
No, that's not toasting it.
It doesn't
That just
get
blows them up.
it doesn't get the crisp fried texture.
Well, I think the assignment for this week for all the kids listening, go put a marshmallow in your toaster and let us know how that turns out.
Let's not what your parents think. Well, just don't burn the house down.
That is,
It will catch fire.
it would catch fire, maybe not even after the first time, but after the 5th thing that you put in there, while it still has the marshmallow
Oh,
caked inside.
the smoke it would make. Oh, gross.
Just dig it out with a fork, though. Just shove a fork in the toaster, dig it out. And then the best way to clean that toaster is probably just leave it plugged in because it's fine.
Put it in
Just
the
throw it in the
bath.
tub. Put it in the tub.
We're gonna get
Let
a
it
content
soak.
warning for this episode.
Yeah.
Good
I
thing no
just
kids
recently
listen.
watched Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
And Groundhog Day. The S just slipped out. Where I always laughed at the scene where he just wakes up and he doesn't want to be alive that day. And so he just goes and grabs the toaster, plugs it in, and lays in the tub and throws it in.
Doesn't that last for multiple days of him trying to end it?
Yeah, there's a lot of days. That's one of the scenes.
Drives off the cliff with the groundhog.
Oh, yeah.
Toaster.
Where he goes to like the dumpster and then he just drives off the dump.
Good
Anyway,
movie.
Can he take a nap? Or if he
Hmm.
takes a nap, does he wake up and it's the next day?
that's a good question.
Oh, they didn't think of everything, did they?
They did not.
I think I would guess if you took a nap, it'd still be that day
You just
because
took a
it
nap during the
resets.
day.
It resets like right at
At that,
night because he tries
Just
to
put
stay
your
up that
little
one time.
hand in mine.
I've got you, babe. Yeah, that's a great movie.
yeah, it is.
Anyway, as mentioned at the beginning, today is my last episode as an intern. So Brandon let me choose the topic today. And so I suggested Webster Elementary School. So before I had suggested that, have either of you heard of Webster Elementary in Magna?
Magna.
Hmm.
Magna.
Magna. No.
I might have went there as a kid with my aunt before it was torn down
Why?
because it was haunted and she likes haunted things.
Hmm?
Go in, but we drove past it. That's all. That's the story.
Do you remember where it's at
I think it's in Magna.
besides just Magna? It's like at the edge of everything. There's nothing past it. There's the mountain. It's
Mm,
like the furthest west you can go in Magna. It's just on the corner of a street.
no, I don't recall any of that.
The reason I brought this topic up is because funny you say that your aunt took you there because it was haunted. Growing up in my house, we love haunted things. My mom and her siblings swear that they grew up in a very haunted house. And so they all have these ghost stories. And so that always fascinated my mom. And this place was known for ghost stories. And so we would visit. And actually, I only remember I have one story for you that I will share. But we'd often talk about Webster Elementary. So I have all these stories that I cannot confirm are true and probably are not true at all. But I've heard stories about that since I was a kid about Webster Elementary and how it's haunted.
So do they go to Webster Elementary?
My parents?
Yeah.
No, nope. But I think it's the oldest. It was the oldest school in Utah that was standing at the time we were going. It opened in 1912. And I don't know if it was always owned by Kennecott, but it was owned by Kennecott when it burned down in 2004. So it was abandoned for a long time, and there would often be fires, probably from squatters. But the fires would be put out, but the building was like all the windows were broken and everything. And then in 2004, it was lit on fire and it went down. There was no saving it. So it was kind of a sad day. But I believe when we visited, it was probably 2002 or 2003. So right before it burned down.
I just assume it was probably around the same time I went as well.
And there is a YouTube video of it claims to possibly
The
possibly be
last
the
known
last
footage.
footage. Yeah, the last known footage, but it was recorded in 1999 or something like that. So they're claiming that nobody else had any footage of it for the last 5 years. I guess it's the last known footage. Nobody's posted anything.
So was it off Main Street?
I think so.
In the video, I like how it has those signs in the middle of like the silhouette kids. Because I feel like those were on my elementary too.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. When I saw that, was it for donations or like this school's funded by? I know
The
what sign you're talking about.
PBS kids just like you.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Pac-12 or Pac-12 thanks viewers like you.
Yeah, I don't know, something like that. But it just not that I didn't doubt this was a real school, but it just seeing something like that from my era, my time, comforting.
Right. But the footage that you just watched, it's a little eerie. I
Yeah.
don't know why. It's just an abandoned school. They don't
So
have any footage on the inside. It's just outside from faraway angles and stuff. They like
and it's
climb up on the
all
hill.
grimy and like it's like a V it's like you're watching a VCR. What do you call this? A VHS. And the film is a little scratched up. It's like all
It's interesting because Ghost Adventures, which is my guilty pleasure show, I love watching it fully knowing and being like a full skeptic of the entire show. But it's just fun and entertaining. And they did an episode in Magna about Magna witches, I believe. On Main Street, there's a store that was cursed by a witch. And I'm convinced, I know if Webster was still there, they would have done an episode on Webster Elementary. But it wasn't, so we'll never know. But some of the ghost stories growing up that I heard, now I have no source for these at all, other than they were just told to me. I can't find anything on the internet about these. This is just my memory. So yeah, I think these are more of like a campfire story than real. But from what I've heard, so it was an elementary school for a long time. And then I think before it closed, it was a school for mentally handicapped children. In fact, my father in law,
Hmm.
I think his sister or brother, one of them, he couldn't remember exactly, but I asked him. He thinks one of them did attend there for a little bit. But it was a school for handicapped kids. And this story that I heard, which is awful, is that a kid had an accident that was in a wheelchair. He had an accident, and the
like what kind of accident?
I don't like a bodily fluid accident. I can't remember the details. I think the details were there, like he threw up or something, and the janitor was just sick of it. He finally just snapped, and he pushed this kid in a wheelchair down the stairs. I think the kid survived, but the janitor ended up hanging himself in the school. So that's one of the ghost stories that I heard. And again, I think that's more of a campfire story, but because I couldn't find anything about that. But I was talking to my mom, asking her what she remembers about this because she was so fascinated. And apparently, my aunt lived out that way or knew people that lived out that way. Well, no, sorry. My aunt did live out that way, but we don't remember if this is her story or her friend's story. We just know that it came from my aunt, but there would be stories about them hearing the bell ring, even though the bells weren't working anymore. They would hear kids playing on the playground outside, even though there were no kids there. So these were stories I grew up with, thinking that this was the most haunted place.
I've never heard of the school. Um, but I think I vaguely remember the news story of it when it burned down, right? Wasn't it arson?
Mm-hmm. That's what
So
I'm looking at. It says two adults and a juvenile were booked into detention. This was
detention at the school.
they were yeah, it says detention. That's what it says. That's what the news story says.
I know, I get it.
But it said so this was in so the school closed in 95. So it was almost 10 years that it just sat there. And it was
So it
in June
was
of 2004 that it was burnt down by who knows who it was, but and why they set it on fire if they were just maybe like playing it. I don't know. Who knows?
bored.
They're bored. I don't do they do it on purpose? Were they just chilling inside and something happened? They said heat from the flames could be felt from blocks away, and a huge column of black smoke could be seen from across the valley. I don't know if they ever released more details about what happened. It was built by the old Utah Copper and opened in 1912. But having a school there that is for that is a recipe for haunting, isn't it?
It's either that or a hospital for tuberculosis patients.
Yeah. So maybe I'm also connecting this with the movie Trick or Treat. Have either of you seen that movie?
I have not.
Really? Oh, that's such a good one. Anyway, Trick or Treat. It's amazing, amazing movie. And it's kind of an anthology movie where it shows different stories. They're all kind of connected though, but one of them is about a bunch of handicapped kids riding on a bus, and then the bus driver decides to rid the town of these burdensome kids, and so he drives them all off a cliff. And that sets up one of the stories. So when you were telling your story about the janitor throwing the kid down the stairs, that's where my mind went.
That's pretty dark.
Yeah, it is. We're getting a
Man,
little too spooky for August, for the end of summer.
Oh, we
Especially
have
with
our fall.
beautiful rice pudding.
We have our fall decorations up, and Lindsay's already ready to set up Halloween. And
Oh,
she
we
keeps
we
saying,
skip fall decorations in our house.
I mean, ours transitions. So we go fall and then to Halloween and then back to fall and Thanksgiving. But we also put up our Christmas tree for Halloween and Thanksgiving, and we leave it for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we love decorating in our house, and our fall decorations are up already. So it's okay. We can celebrate. I mean, if Disney World is celebrating
Halloween.
Halloween already, why can't we? So another thing about the school, actually no, I'm not. It just doesn't fit in, but they were going to turn it into affordable housing, the building, before it burned down. But going back to the fire, I mentioned there were multiple fires there, and actually my father-in-law Alan said one of his friends, when he was a teenager, I think what he said when he was a teenager was with a group of friends that lit a fire and got caught, and that ruined his future career because he always wanted to join the Army, the Navy, the Armed Forces, something. And because he had arson on his, or this fire that they caused on his record, he wasn't able to join any of the armed forces that he wanted to. So some stupid mistake he made as a teenager ruined at the time what he thought his life would be.
Thought you were gonna say haunted him for the rest of his life. You missed it.
Take it back. Say it again, Matt.
This stupid mistake this teenager made haunted him for the rest of his future life.
Oh,
of what he
very
wanted
on
to be.
point, Matt. Very astute.
Absolutely, Brandon. So if you guys don't have anything else, I have a story to tell. My own personal ghost story
Wait.
of Webster Elementary.
Wait. I'm going to go on a tangent.
Okay.
We have fantastic mining culture in the state of Utah, do we not?
We do.
It's underappreciated, our mining culture. We need a mine haunted house.
We do need a mining haunted house. How is that not? Oh, no. Hey, we've got a mining haunted house, Brandon.
You do?
Yeah, Lagoon. It's the Western themed haunted house, and you go through the mine at the end.
I guess, but I'm saying we go into a mine and it's a haunted house. Doesn't
like
sound
an
dangerous
like an
at all.
old abandoned mine that and it even had like the carts, like it was like a ride too.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And you had to it was manually operated, so
you
you
do the
had
ones
to,
where you do it. Yeah, you have one person on each side.
Yeah. That's how you escape. And if you don't do it fast enough, then they get you.
We are chock full of good ideas on here.
So what you're saying is we're not doing a themed restaurant anymore. Scrap our ideas from last week.
Yeah,
we're gonna do
It's a new week. It's a new week,
we scrapped them in the episode because we realized it was a bad idea. This one, I'm not even gonna explore the thought that it's a bad idea. It is 100% a good idea.
And what if in the middle of that mine haunted house, you take an optional break to play a round of mini golf,
No,
a mine themed
even
mini
better.
golf course?
What if you go through Webster Elementary,
It's gone.
a replica of it?
I think it's just too soon, Brandon.
You
I
see,
think that was
see,
very insensitive of you to suggest that.
why is it insensitive? And you see the kid in the wheelchair, and you have an option.
Wait, hold on. Was it you, Matt, that said, because this all make me think of like an escape room, not really a haunted house at this point, but was it you that said, Matt, that they should make a bank heist
I did.
escape room?
That was
Or was that you,
Brandon.
I
Brandon?
sent that.
And I was gonna say, isn't that like on video games already? Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, but in video games, like it's cool, but it's not the real thing. For context, I sent to the group
Yes.
a picture of someone saying rather than, well, I don't know if it's a rather than, but what we should set up is a full-on, full-scale bank heist where you get the effect and that, I guess, desire
Just
we all have to
like
rob
an
a bank.
escape room, right? But
Yeah,
same concept, but
but
you do a bank heist instead.
it's more like, I guess, the scheming and the camaraderie you have with robbing a bank, I guess.
And shooting people.
It sounds weird to say, but it makes sense. Just, I guess, the thrill of the chase of robbing a bank. So you get the whole experience in a fake environment with people that arrest you and all that, but you're not really robbing a bank in real life. But you get to do it and pretend like it's a movie.
But my question is, are you escaping on foot? Because how do you escape in a car without having the real cops pull you over for speeding through downtown Salt Lake City?
Maybe it's a really, really, really big show building that includes a racetrack.
Like they have like miniature go-karts that you
Yeah,
take off on. Works for me. All right, back to the show.
Matt, you had a scary story to share with us.
I have a story. So I'm telling you right now, I'm not even joking. 100% of the story I tell is true. I'm not making any details up. I'm telling it to the very best of my memory because there are details where you're like, that just sounds like a scary movie. It was pouring rain. I was a young kid. My cousin Brittany was there. So my other cousin, her sister, is Erin. So growing up, they were Bert and Ernie. That were their nicknames. So I'm going to refer to my cousin as Bert from now on, even though I won't mention her a lot. But I did text Bert and I asked her if she remembered this. And she was like, oh my gosh, I do remember this. And she's similar, like I am, where we grew up and there was all these paranormal normal stories. And she grew up in a haunted house and all that stuff. And again, my mom and my aunts were all into it. But she's similar, like I am, where we're very skeptical, especially now as adults when we think back on all those stories. We're like, those don't seem legit because they have some wild stories, my aunts. So anyway, her and I are very similar in that way. So I asked her if she remembered doing this thing, and she did. And she said when I asked her about it, it gave her chills to remember it. So my memory was that it was me, my mom, and her, my cousin Bert. We drove out to Webster. My mom was like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to go to Webster tonight? It was dark. It was raining, lightning, and thunder. We get out there, and I am hiding in the back, covering my ears, closing my eyes, crying and screaming that I wanted to leave because I had heard these stories about ghost kids playing out in the play yard. And I legitimately thought I would open my eyes and see our truck was surrounded by ghost children and that they were closing in just like a movie. I thought that was the reality that was going to happen. And so my eyes were closed, my ears were plugged because I didn't want to hear the school bell ring. I was crying, but I could hear my mom and Bert. I don't remember if my other cousin Aaron was with us. I don't remember if my sister was with us. I just remember us three. But I remember hearing them going, "Oh my gosh, do you see that in the window?" And they both started freaking out like there's a kid in the window. There's somebody in the window. And there was a pause. Nobody talked for a second. And they're like, I swear there's somebody in the window. And then right then, lightning flashed, lit up the whole sky. Thunder shook the ground. It was like right there. Scared the crap out of us. We screamed. We all screamed. I was crying and they couldn't see anything anymore. So when I texted my cousin Bert and I was like, do you remember that? She's the one that was like, didn't we see something in the window? We saw like a kid in the window or something, which of course I didn't remember because I wasn't looking. But I called my mom and asked her, and she said, oh my gosh, didn't we see a kid in a window? There was like, to my mom's memory, a curtain or something, a covering was hanging over the window, but the storm was blowing it in and you could see a kid in there. And so it terrified us. It probably scarred me for life. But the lightning strike and the thunder scared us so badly that we had to drive off. And so I never got to see what was in the window. I don't know if I was a kid. From what my cousin described at the time, not when I asked her just recently, but at the time, it looked like a little girl with long pigtails or braided. Is that still pigtails? Braided hair,
I don't
two
know.
braids.
Her hair was done.
Nate says yes. Two braids, and the way they described it, she was on her elbow, like her hands were supporting her head and her elbows were resting on the windowsill, and she was looking out the window.
Like this?
Yeah. So both of my cousin and my mom remember it. They both remember thinking we saw a kid in the window, but we all remember how terrifying it was. And for me, I was crying in the back, screaming, let's go, let's go. I was so mad that I went. So that's my ghost story. I didn't see anything. I didn't witness it. I was too scared. But my cousin and my mom remember it. And then just a few years later, the school burned down. So probably the next year, because it was 2004 when it burned down. And I'm guessing it was 2002 or 2003 when we went. So
Is there a chance they set you up?
that my mom and cousin set me up.
Yep, they put a little girl in there to
No,
fake you guys out.
no.
Okay.
The school was closed off. I'm pretty sure there's like a barbed wire fence around it. Although
Oh, so you couldn't
obviously
even
you
get
can get in.
up next to the building.
You couldn't walk around it. It was like a condemned building, basically.
Right.
Like it was surrounded by fences. Do not trespass. So no, they didn't set us up. I don't even know who they would hire or convince to go into that building at night. So spooky.
That is spooky.
That was a place I thought would be interesting to talk about, and I'm curious what our listeners, if anybody has cool ghost stories, because it seems when you bring up ghost stories of a place, a lot of people want to pitch in and be like, I remember this. So I am curious if we have any listeners, especially in Magna or grew up in Magna, that remember Webster Elementary. Do they remember hearing that it was haunted or having their own experience? I searched on Google and there was like a research or a return that was said something like a very haunted school with videos of apparitions, but there was nothing else. That's like all it said. I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't helpful at all. So apparently it was haunted, but I can't find any ghost stories online about it.
This is really getting me excited for us doing a ghost tour of some sort, a ghost investigation. But even if you're not a part of the podcast, Matt, you should still, I know your internship is over, but you should still come out with us as we hopefully have one in the works for this spooky season. Would you
I'll
be
be
down
down.
for that, or are you too traumatized?
I'll be down for that.
All right. Nate, are you down for that?
I'm down.
Are you too scared?
I ain't scared of no ghost.
I'm more scared going into a fake haunted house than I am going into a real haunted house. Is that backwards?
No.
I'm more scared of the things that I know will jump out at me than I am of the things that could potentially physically harm me or jump out at me.
You know the movie 1408?
With
He's doing a
what's his
book
name?
signing.
Joan Cusack.
John
Mm,
Cusack.
yeah.
And he's doing the book signing, and somebody's like, I really want to see a ghost. And he's like, you want to see a ghost? Guaranteed. He's like, Haunted Mansion, Disney World, or said something like that, basically making the point that he's gone to all these haunted and scary places and done all these things, and he hasn't seen anything before. That's the beginning of the movie.
I've never seen the movie, so don't spoil it.
Oh, it's a great movie, Brendan. I think you'd really enjoy it. It's very spooky, not jump scary,
Ooh, my vibe.
and very confusing.
We
It's very similar to Groundhog Day.
Is it? Is that a Stephen King story?
I think so.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah, I'll have to add that to the list. So
Well,
yeah,
should we start wrapping it up?
I think we should.
Yeah,
Would like to.
I hear the school bell ringing, so we got to wrap this up.
I just want to thank you guys for having me on as an intern for the summer.
We did have a kind of our exit interview planned. I don't know. Do you want to start that off, Nate?
Yes. Who who do you think you are? What what gives you the right? You have his present?
Maybe we should just go through the binder. I will say, Matt, it's been nice having you on the podcast. It's been a good summer internship, but I think you are destined for something else, not this.
It's not here. Wish you the best in your life.
We will have you back on if you will have us.
Of
If
course.
you're not soured by the experience of our enterprise here, we'll have you back at the least point, we'll have you back for as we finish up our Halloween trilogy in
Yes.
Oh
October.
yeah.
But of course, you're always
look
welcome
forward to that.
back onto the podcast.
And I will be back.
Hurry back.
I am curious how many listeners.
We lost.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can cut this out, and I'm
We
curious
gotta
how many
razz
people.
you while we can still.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious how many people were like, "Oh, cool, Matt's on," and how many people are like, "Oh my gosh," because Brandon and I we listen to a podcast where there's this one guest that some people love, and when we see him, we're like, "Oh no." So
No,
yeah,
but really, it's been a good time, and I know part of the reason you're leaving the podcast, it was potentially it's going to be a permanent stay, right? But you've decided to start your own podcast, right?
that is correct. Yep. So I would like to say this idea started a few months ago when I emailed a friend and said, "Would you like to do this podcast with me?" But as I think about it, it was actually a few years ago, and I can't remember how long ago it was. And I think it was my friend, but I can't remember. We were joking and said we should do a podcast, a very niche podcast called Bumper Car Boys, and we'll talk about the history of bumper cars. And we'll do it totally straight faced, like it's the most serious thing, and that's the joke of it. And that idea was born that night and also ended that night, where I was like, no, we couldn't do it. So part of the reason I wanted to do this podcast, well, I'm your biggest fan. I really enjoy this podcast, and we always have so much fun when we do episodes together. So I thought, what if we did this permanently? So I asked you, Brandon, and you said you talked with Nate and you guys both fasted and prayed. And you said, let's do a summer internship and we'll see how it goes. And I think it was pretty quick after a few episodes when I realized like what I love most about this podcast is you two and your stories and everything and how you guys, your dynamic works. And I feel like my third person, it throws it off. throws off your mojo. So I'm glad I did it because I was curious what could it be like if all three of us meshed. And I think I'm the problem where I just really like both of you guys. So I enjoyed doing the summer a lot, but I think it's fair for the listeners to just go back to the normal content, which I appreciate most. So that's why I decided I'm not going to continue after this internship. And I emailed my friend and said, would you like to start a podcast with me? Something we're both very passionate about. And I wouldn't say experts, but we do very much enjoy doing research on this topic, and that is amusement parks, and especially across America. I think they preserve such a great history of America, and some of them are new and futuristic, and a lot of them are really old and what it was like living in the 70s and 80s and 90s. You can revisit that time visiting some of these amusement parks across the country. So I emailed my friend Brandon and asked him if he would join me in a new project. So no, September 5th, Amusement Park Road Trip is the podcast. And we will be covering amusement parks across the country. Some big ones. Well, we'll be covering all of them, but we'll start off with a few big ones and then cover some smaller amusement parks that aren't as recognized as others. So I'm very excited for this project. Brandon and I have had a lot of fun so far recording. We've been recording for the last 3 months and have finished 2 episodes. So we're very excited for this project. So it's funny because I want to promote the podcast to my friends, and then I'm like, I actually don't have that many friends that really like amusement parks like we do. So I've promoted it to one friend that does like amusement parks. So if you're hearing this now, you can look it up right now, Amusement Park Road Trip. We do have our trailer episode out. And we really haven't promoted it much. If you are curious, we are on Instagram and Facebook at Amusement Park Road Trip. But we are very excited for it to launch again September 5th. So thank you for letting me plug that, Brandon.
Yeah, you bet.
We will be splitting the funds.
Man, if you are in for so much money, if Nate and I can speak from experience, how much money we are just rolling in from our
We've made
podcast
tens and tens of dollars.
And we have spent more than that.
Yeah.
Podcasting for us has been it's a hobby. It's a fun hobby, a good opportunity to talk and get with some friends and have some laughs. And we hope you guys enjoy it along with us. So I think Nate and I, it's been fun having Matt on. We haven't had as many interviews and things like that as we do in the past. Maybe we'll go a little bit more back to that. Maybe we'll rework some other things, but we'll keep going strong, keep the podcast up and running and delivering you the quality episodes as we always have.
And I'll still be the quality assurance guy.
Yeah. The worst part about you leaving, Matt, is losing your Zoom access. That gives us unlimited time.
Yep. Well, Zoom and also writing the episode descriptions.
Oh, no, you still have to do that. I'm sorry.
Okay. I will do that, actually.
Matt will be behind the scenes still, writing the episode descriptions, the show notes.
Matt's our new producer.
Yeah, I like at the end of the credits when they name people you never hear of. It's like, this episode was brought to you or produced by these people and all this stuff, and there's a name, and you're like, I've never heard of that person. So at the end of the credits, if you could just go ahead and throw my name in there, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely, get right to that.
Yeah,
and then we have what do you call it? A post-credit scene.
Yeah,
is that how we get people to stick around and watch to see if Matt's name pulls up?
Right.
Well, the post credits are actually posted on Patreon, so you'll have to go there to hear the post credits. And if you're a Patreon yourself, you can be named in the post credits.
Right.
Ooh.
Brandon, you have that look on your face like, I'm going to cut this out.
I have that look on my face. I'm going to cut it out. Okay. Any final words, Matt? Any final words, Nate? Or any words of wisdom for Matt as he embarks on leaving the podcast?
That sums it up for me.
That sums it up.
I enjoy hanging out and talking with Matt. So it's always a good laugh when Matt's around. He enjoys our weird sense of humor. So
Yeah, makes it fun. And you know what? Maybe this will be the year the three of us will finally go to Frightmares together so Nate can protect us.
I hope so.
And we've been to Lagoon together. Don't get it twisted. But we have not been to Frightmares. Matt and I have had to embark alone on a very scary journey by ourselves.
brave the night on your own.
Yeah, we're hoping Nate can give us a reprieve this year.
And more than just the haunted houses, I need Nate to hold my hand so we can ride the rocket.
That
I'm
too.
sick of these nightmares terrorizing my life.
Yeah, so many
I had
dreams
one.
about the rocket.
I had one this week. I'm not even joking. I think
Oh
it was
my
Saturday
God.
night. I'm not even joking. I dream about it like at least once a month, but probably multiple times a month. I dream about the rocket.
We have an unrational fear of the rocket. We've ridden it
Really?
so many times, and yet we're still so scared of it.
Yeah. I haven't ridden it since probably 2010, actually.
Really?
Yeah. So
Okay, so here's what happens. If we do indeed make it to Frightmares this year, we're going to start with the biggest scare of them all, and the rocket will be our first ride.
yeah. And then we'll ride Primordial. Well, I hope you boys enjoy the rest of your summer by toasting some marshmallows.
Yes, everybody go toast your marshmallows and report back. And we will not be held liable for any results of you toasting said marshmallows. Thanks for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
And this was a place we just talked about.
Bye now.
It's our final bye now.
You should put a little echo on that.
Bye, bye.
We'll keep Matt
Bye
in.
now.
We'll just put a bye now at the end of every episode with his voice, kind of like
That'd be
A
hilarious.
ghost, like we're haunted by
the
Matt.
ghost of Matt. As we go on, we remember.